So once we've decided that we want to build a permanent or a semi-permanent circuit, we can move on from a breadboard onto something more permanent, such as a Vero board. In order to use a Vero board, we need to use a soldering iron to solder the components to the board. So some of the important tools that are required when using a soldering iron are, obviously we want to have a good quality solder, we want to have a solder tip cleaner, a solder sucker or suction cup. We want to have our sponge to help cleaning the excess solder off the soldering iron. So once our soldering iron is warm enough, we want to make sure that the tip is clean. We can always apply a small bit of solder, okay, just to ensure that the tip is clean and shiny, and make sure that there's no excess born solder on the tip before we actually go and try to solder any components. So we want to make sure that the actual electrical connection is safely positioned away from the tip of the soldering iron. So when we want to solder a component on the Vero board, such as an IC or an integrated circuit, it's very important to look at the electrical connections. Now, on the Vero board, we have our electrical connections, okay, that run down the board in lines. Okay, so our electrical connections are down the board in individual lines. So it's very important to look at how we connect components. So if we were to connect an IC like so, what would happen would be, so we have one line of pins here and one line of pins here, but we've got electrical continuation between either side of the IC. So what we need to do is we need to break the electrical connection between the ICs. Similarly, if we're connecting an IC on a breadboard, that break is already done for us. If we connect an IC like so, because we have electrical connectivity across these lines, but we've got a break here, and then we've got electrical connectivity across these. Also, when we use transistors, we also need to be aware of the electrical connectivity between each of the different lines. We have to be very, very careful not to connect components on the same line without breaking the track, otherwise we'd short out certain pins. And the same goes for resistors and capacitors. If we connect cross lines, okay, so the electrical connectivity you can see is on this line here. It's going to come into this input side of the resistor. It's going to come out here. Okay, we've got electrical connectivity along this line into the resistor, across these tracks and into this line. So when you connect in this fashion, we don't have to break the tracks.